What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy Sports Now. Today we're talking about Week 12 pitchers to stream. We go day by day and check out who we're going to look at, who we're going to pick up in our leagues. Before we kind of jump into Week 12, I'd like to at least maybe pause your screen right now. Take a look at some of our successes from last week. We're not just throwing names out there to try to, get you guys to watch this. We had some big successes this week. Patrick Corbin, everybody was dropping him. We told you guys to kind of pick him back up. Adam Wainwright at this point needs to be owned, I think, in just about every league, and I think he's gone way up in those leagues. Kikuchi looked good. All these guys. We're not going to spend much time here because we don't really need to. That's not what we're all about. We also kind of celebrate our losses, our not so successful guys. Zach Davies again screws us a little bit here. 8 earns, 2 Ks. He went 6 innings, so that's great. But I mean, he took a loss there. Brad Keller also did not look very good. I feel like we take Brad Keller way too often than we probably should. Anyway, let's jump into week 12 because that's really what we're here for. And what we're looking at, like I said, is day by day who we like, who we don't like. Some days are punt days, some days aren't. And we have under 50% owned. I feel like that's a pretty good measure. It kind of gets shallower leagues and it definitely gets the deeper leagues of who is pick upable. In one of my leagues, I pick up somebody just about every single day. So that's what we're going with here. So starting Monday, I actually like who they like. Jake Odorizzi right off the bat. I don't necessarily like Jake Odorizzi in this situation, like him as the pitcher. I like the matchup. I don't necessarily like that it's at Baltimore, but Aiken, I don't know actually much about this guy who's pitching here. And Houston's offense is just so electric, and you put them at Baltimore. I just feel like Odorizzi has a good chance to get a lot of run support, and I feel like Baltimore's offense kind of sputtered a little bit. It had a good week against Toronto, but kind of sputtered towards the end of the week here. So I like this. Feel like that's a winnable game. The other one is Merrill Kelly, though he has struggled big lately. I'm looking at it right now: 4 earned, 3 earned, 4 earned, 5 earned in his last 4 starts. I still believe in Merrill Kelly personally, and there's no better place, in my opinion, to get the ship righted. Righted? Is that the right word? Whatever. Then going to Milwaukee. And they're at home against Milwaukee. But Milwaukee, last I checked, which was late this week, had the worst batting average of any team in the majors. They're honestly a really frustrating team to watch. As a guy who owns like Corbin Burns, or if you own Woodruff, or Peralta, Freddie Peralta, you know this pain that is sitting here. And so for me, Merrill Kelly has a good chance of not only winning this game, but putting up at least 6 innings of just decent pitching. So that's what I expect there. Tuesday for me is kind of a big stream day here. Cole Irvin, I think, is a good pick. You can go ahead, we'll click in here, and you can see his kind of last 4 games, really, maybe even 5. Yeah, there are some blips on here on the earned runs, but he's going 6 innings strong in a lot of these games. He has not been able to pull in decisions necessarily, but Oakland has been hot and they've really been hitting well. So I think Cole Irvin can continue to kind of hit this 6 inning point and set himself up for a good position to actually win those ball games. Ross Stripling, again, let's just jump right into his stats here. He had a good start this last time. He's kind of been a little bit shaky, but you don't see a lot of major blips outside of, this one here. I really like the Ks that he's been putting up lately, but most importantly for me is this matchup. Now, I don't like that it's against Rodgers, obviously, but anytime you're at Miami with a Toronto team that's hitting really well, I'm going to go ahead and snag that matchup because this is a winnable game for me. And the last one here is my boy from Detroit, Scooble, Scooby Doo, as we're calling him, kind of. And I kind of like this little feature here. Last week it wasn't so quick, but this time it is. Look at these Ks, man. He's starting to rack them up. Look through, from here forward. And this is really what he was known for, was striking out guys. In Double A or Triple A, really, he had like a 14 per 9 strikeout rate in Triple A, but a few years ago or whatever, it was insane. And I expect to kind of see those numbers, and that's kind of what we're seeing here. He's starting to go deeper into games, and he's starting to pick up some decisions as well. And so when you're taking Scooble and you're going to St. Louis, that's kind of a top-heavy hitting team. You got your Carlson, your Arenado, and your Schmitty. But once you kind of get past that, it's a little bit weaker, and there's a few guys in there that are prone to Ks. So I don't mind that at all. So that's a good one for me there. Wednesday, I went through this and I was really trying to pull out some names that I liked. Like, oh, maybe John Gant at Detroit against Manning. Manning just came up and, he actually looked better than I expected in his first outing here. And I was like, but John Gant, he really doesn't go deep into games and he really hasn't done that well in those games, especially lately. So I was like, I don't want John Gant. The one I ended up sticking to was Garrett Richards, and mostly because it's at Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay likes to strike out a lot. So, yes, I understand Garrett Richards' last couple starts here have been suspect at best. But I think that Garrett Richards, despite this stash, actually, I kind of like the stash. I'm thinking about not going this far with the stash, but, it's getting something like that, shaving the side. Anyway, I like the K's that he has, the potential, and I like that at Tampa that they strike out a lot, and I think that that's a potential good start for Richards. I don't necessarily see win when you go to Tampa Bay, but I do expect a lot of strikeouts, 6+ at least. So if you're Wednesday and you're down on strikeouts in a category league, or you get a lot of points for your strikeouts, then that's where I'm headed. That's the only guy I liked on Wednesday. And oddly enough, like Thursday, um, I have kind of a flyer here. Tyon isn't the flyer, but Tyon has been very frustrating, and I think a lot of people who own Tyon is going to agree. He doesn't go deep into games, as you're seeing here, and he's not really getting that many Ks outside some early outliers. He's not really performing like we thought, and we know that he can. So for me, even though it's a decent matchup here at Kansas City, it just feels like one of those games where Kansas City's going to win and win big. They seem to go off every so often. Carlos Martinez has a good matchup with Pittsburgh here, but Carlos Martinez has been brutal, unstartable. Don't go that route. I'd rather start John Lester, and I know I went on John Lester a few days ago, and that was kind of fun, and he did well. I'm actually going with Jad Cool here. And the reason is Pittsburgh is picking it up a little. They look decent outside of this start here, which I just bashed Milwaukee a little bit here. Outside of the start, the last two were pretty strong. You're not going to get a lot of Ks necessarily, but I like what he brings to the table more than Carlos Martinez. If you want to see this guy's man, it's awful. Okay, good start, but outside of that, man, look at these earned. It's just he's in my kind of dynasty AAA, and I watch him more often than most people. And every time I feel like I see him pitch, it's just a disaster. So anyway, we'll move on. Thursday, Chad Cool's my guy, and that's it. That's all I like. This is tough, man. Walk at Boston, no thanks. Davies at LA, no thanks. Creamer at Toronto, no thanks. I'm out on that. And Friday, unfortunately, is also not as good either. So honestly, after talking this through, like Tuesday is my day of streaming a lot of guys. I put this down on my notes here as a straight punt day, which is kind of crazy. I literally have no names over here. I mean, what do we like here? Pineda's DL. I don't even know if he's going to be back. If he is back, then maybe that's a good matchup. Ohtani, this is not fair. 50% people own Ohtani. That's not true. That's ridiculous. So I don't even count Ohtani. That's not fair. Johnny Cueto at Oakland against Maneo looks amazing. So I don't really like that start. Oakland's been hot. Johnny Cueto has not been. So I'm sitting here looking at these, and I'm really not liking a lot of these starts. You know, maybe. I mean, how's he been doing here? Antonio, how you been doing? So 6 innings for the last two, but he's getting a lot of earned. Decent Ks. This might be a guy that we consider, but going against Corbin Burns, who has not looked that great recently. I kind of in my chats had said maybe his spin rate is down, which I got to look into after the whole sticky stuff. But he has not looked the same since that's gone away. Just throwing it out there. Saturday, also don't like a lot of guys out here. There's a lot of guys that are kind of like they're decent, but they're not great, and the matchups aren't great. I've been burnt with Hauser before. It is Colorado. Gomber's on the DL, so this might be his first start coming off the DL, or it's going to be a bullpen game. So Hauser might be my pick here. But Colorado doesn't look that bad, and with Milwaukee's offense, it's such a hard sell. Brad Keller, we kind of already went over this with Brad Keller. You know what? Let's click into Brad Keller. Let's see what he's been doing here. It's just not impressive lately, right? This is what we keep getting burnt by these starts, and I don't want to do this anymore to myself. And at Texas, this should be a winnable ball game, but I don't trust it at all. So for me, there's some names here that could do some things, but I just don't trust it. So I'm skipping. I'm picking guys from Tuesday, and I just don't trust it. Sunday, we do have a few names finally, but they're kind of actually they're names that we already talked about. Odorizzi at Detroit against Scooble. That's a good start for me. Again, Houston, absolutely electric. Stripling, Baltimore. Again, love that. Absolutely love that. So back to backs, Baltimore there. Absolutely love that. Who else we got here? Brady Singer. Where's he at? I got him written down here at Texas. So Brady Singer has been much better than Keller outside of this kind of start here, but just more consistent, especially in the K category. And again, guys, these are guys that are 50% owned or less. So we're not picking out the greatest guys in the world to start with. So Sunday, we got a couple of good names. Two start guys, really quick. I do this just at the end. Merrill Kelly, I like this start, even though he struggled. I don't necessarily like the start, but it's an option for us for two start pitching. Cole Irvin, I had mentioned it twice on here, as well as Odorizzi, Baltimore, and Detroit. Both of these are favorable matchups. I think that I would pick that up if I was in one of these leagues where I kind of had to have the two-star pitcher. Skubal was on my list. St. Louis and Houston, even though this is a tough start. I don't mind this. I like the K production. I like the potential K production there. And I had Brady Singer, which we talked about. Where is he here? Kansas City. Let's find. Where are you, Kansas City? I'm blind. There you are. New York. New York's such a tough one, man. They rather go off on you. They feel like they always have the potential at any point to score 8 runs, but they just never do. And it doesn't seem to happen. And bad pitchers are putting up good numbers against New York, so I don't mind this as much as I should. And then going to Texas, that's a favorable matchup for me. So that's it this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I feel like this one went a bit longer than normal, but that's all right, guys. I hope you enjoyed your Father's Day. We do these on Sunday. The games are over. So we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.